Hey everybody, we are starting a new unit. Unit 3 is our meaning, purpose, and connection unit. So we are going to be thinking about, we're going to be reading Tribe, which by the way is not a positive psychology book. And in reading it, we are going to work really hard to pull out positive psychology concepts around those three concepts of meaning, purpose, and connection. The idea that so much of our well-being is wrapped up in those concepts. So there's one chapter in particular about PTSD, and it's interesting because the author, who is not a veteran, he's actually a wartime journalist, and he talks very directly about his experience at war. But the idea that we can keep diagnoses or struggles such as PTSD from happening by working really hard on things like meaning, purpose, and connection. So this idea that positive psychology isn't only about taking people who are at a kind of an okay baseline and pushing them forward, but it's also about taking people who are really in deep pain and struggling and being able to support them back to health. So one thing that is so important to realize about this particular unit is that the due dates are when the chapters need to have been read by. So if ever there's a unit where you are each week scrolling ahead and figuring out what you need to be working on ahead of time, this is the one. And because we have 3 weeks to read the book, it's a very short book. You could read it in a day, but because we're spreading it out over 3 weeks, the readings do take place, some of them on the weekends. And if you don't want to read on the weekends, that's perfectly fine, but you'll want to plan ahead and make sure that that's possible for you. So as you hopefully have noticed, I try really hard not to give weekend due dates because it's so important that you have time to walk away from your computers and walk away from school and gain perspective so that we have the energy to come back to it. But this particular unit is the exception to that. Sorry, I can't even read my own notes. It's never a good sign, but my handwriting is atrocious. All right, so with the Catalyst Conference, we're going to also be working on that later on in the unit. And you'll notice that the Catalyst Conference work is at the bottom of this unit. So scroll down and make sure you're checking out those dates too. But at this point, you've identified the group that you want to work with. It's been really neat to find out from you guys who you're interested in focusing on. And now you should be researching about that group and really working to understand them, doing your interview. But then you're also going to want to start thinking, like, what positive psychology concept could really help to support this group? Is it teaching about growth mindset? We haven't even had that unit yet, so it's hard to think ahead to that. Is it something around gratitude practicing? Is it teaching them perma theory? So just really thinking about what could ease the struggle of this group, what particular concept or theory. And one other thing to keep in mind is it's a little early to talk about this probably, but you will all have spring breaks coming up at some point, and I ask that you direct message me and Twist to let me know that you're beginning your spring break. Around this time, I've kind of spread out the work so that you can leave for a week and then either make up the work when you get back or do it before you go, but it shouldn't be so grand during this chunk of time that's impossible. Some people choose to just slowly work on it during their spring break, so there's not makeup work to be done, but you can let me know what works for you. Some people have 2 week spring breaks, and GOA only allows for a 1 week spring break. So that's something to keep in mind too, if you're going to be away for 2 weeks. And I don't know how realistic that is for anyone this year to really be away, but these are things to keep in mind, and you can direct message me and Twist if you have any questions about that. And speaking of Twist, why don't you direct message me one thing of self-care that you plan to do for yourself this weekend. My act of self-care is there's this restaurant that has this great fresh food from Argentina, and I really wanted to try it, so I decided I was just going to order a ton of it. And the weather has gotten nice. It's supposed to be up to 80 today, so I invited some friends to spread out in our backyard and to enjoy the food from Argentina. I'm excited about that. Hope you have some fun active self-care coming your way too, and have a great day.